Reuniclus is an interesting Pokemon with fantastic abilities, a good special attack stat, decent bulk overall, but we haven't seen it much in Regulation H or Generation 9 in general. However, one was able to get top 32 at the Perth Regional Championship and almost making it into the top cut. We're going to be trying out this Reuniclus Sand team and seeing how well it can perform. This is an interesting take on a Sand team. Let's start breaking it down. First, we have the Tyranitar with the Sand Stream ability. Of course, to summon the sand, it's really good against all the different weather teams out there, such as the sun, the snow, and the rain, because it's very disruptive. Can break Focus Sashes on Pokemon like Sneasler, can break Multi-Skill on Dragonite. So there's a lot that the sand can provide. The Assault Tyranitar is also a great Pokemon, especially being able to switch into those weather Pokemon like the really strong fire type attacks or the really strong potential attacks from the rain teams. But to be able to disrupt Electroshot and Weather Ball from Pelipper is always very much appreciated. Otherwise, the Tyranitar, great Pokemon against Size Spam, Trick Room, really strong mon in general. And this one, just a pretty standard set that we've been seeing all generation. With the Terra Flying Assault Vest set featuring that Terra Flying Terra Blast, it's a great defensive typing against the grass type moves. Makes it so you can actually go for Earthquake next to your own Excadrill, which is fantastic without Tyranitar taking any damage. And really strong coverage in the Rock Slide, the knockoff, same type attack bonuses, and of course the low kick for the King Gambits, other Tyranitars, and more. Next, we have the Excadrill with the Sand Rush and the Focus Sash. We've seen a team with Excadrill and Focus Sash because it is a generally frail mod, even though it boasts high HP. Its defenses aren't the greatest, but Focus Sash is the most common item because of the very common weaknesses that it does share, like fighting and water type attacks. We have the Terra Ground to power up its ground type moves such as High Horsepower and Earthquake. Great against a lot of common Pokemon in the format, a lot of steals that are just weak to ground type moves, Incineroar, other fire types, so Terra Ground does make a lot of sense here. Iron Head for that coverage, especially into the fairy types as well, and the Terra Fairies like the Dragonite for instance. Very solid Pokemon, not running Swords Dance, just opting for the Earthquake and High Horsepower just as an option for a spread move, but also like really powerful High Horsepower that are single target if you absolutely need it. Next Pokemon we have is going to be the Kommo-o, and this Kommo-o is running the Overcoat ability that prevents it from taking the sand chip damage. It also ignores the powder moves such as the Spore from Amoonguss, which is very much appreciated. That Throat Spray, because you do have two sound moves in Clangor Soul and Clanging Scales, you could get a +1 special attack from Clanging Scales, or with the Clangor Soul boost combined, you could get a +2 immediately. The Terra Steel as a defensive option, which is nice against Golden Go, and also like fairy type moves in general, as well as opposing dragons like the Scale Shot Dragonite, which has been very common. And this Kommo-o set, a little bit interesting, it's running Aura Spear over Flamethrower, which we would commonly see on Kommo-o, but opting for the Aura Spear to hit Pokemon like King Gambit, the Ursaluna Blood Moon, that can be a little bit annoying to sand teams. So just really focusing on its same type attack bonuses for that extra damage output. Next, we have the Incineroar with the Intimidate and the Safety Goggles. I mean, it's a pretty standard Incineroar set with the Terra Ghost. It's just a great support Pokemon, and it is pretty nice with that Fake Out, the knockoff Flare Blitz for the coverage, Party Shot for redirection to help out against the opposing teams for setting up with Kommo-o, because Party Shot and Fake Out are just great combinations for setup moves. And of course, because Party Shot is really solid, especially with Weather Wars, it can be very nice to set up for your Tyranitar and Excadrill Sand mode. Next Pokemon is the Amoonguss, Regenerate, Citrus Berry, Terra Water. The only thing that's really notable about the Amoonguss, like we have the standard Spore, Pollen Puff, and Rage Powder, those are the common sets. Normally we would see Protect on the Amoonguss, but this one opting for Clear Smog as a way to really help out against Dondozo, because otherwise the team does struggle against Dondozo without the Clear Smog. So having that Clear Smog option on the Amoonguss, and if they are Terra Steel, you have a few ways to hit the Dondozo with the Low Kick from Tyranitar, the Aura Spear from Kommo-o, the ground type attacks from Excadrill, and the Flare Blitz from Incineroar. So it's not the end of the world, but you do force a Terra on the Dondozo most of the time, and if not, they are either going to lose their boost or go to sleep, which is very, very solid. Final Pokemon we have is the Reuniclus, which is an interesting Pokemon. We don't really see it too much, but it's got great abilities. It also gets access to Overcoat, which is also a nice ability, which would make it immune to the powder moves like Kommo-o is. But this one instead running the Magic Guard, because it is running a Life Orb set. That allows Reuniclus to hit even harder, which is pretty cool. You have that Trick Room mode, which is really nice. The Terra Dark options to help out against Encore stuff, like from Whimsicott, or also just being a resistance to like King Gambit, resists the Golden Ghost Shadow Balls, the Annihilate Rage Fist. It's a good defensive typing and compare pretty well. And what's nice about Reuniclus is you are able to threaten the fighting types that this team does not appreciate, because there are triple fighting weeks on this team, and being able to hit Sneasler, for instance, good in the size spam combinations once again, and that's why it actually has expanding force on the Reuniclus over the Psychic, which is a bit stronger, because you do have that option if you're facing a size spam team. Because you don't have terrain control, you could go for your own expanding force and do a ton of damage. You have flash cannon for coverage if you absolutely need it. Can hit opposing dark types for a bit of chip. Doesn't exactly have the best coverage moves, but just having flash cannon, because it can help out against like a Alolan Ninetales. You could snipe one and that'd be a Weather War. But also like just other fairy types in general, which again, like Kommo does not appreciate. Overall, the team has a few different modes, but mainly it's just about attacking. You have a Kommo setup mode with the Clangorous Soul and the Throat Spray getting the +2. You could set it up with the Incineroar and the Mungus. You have a Tricker mode with Reuniclus that can go really strong with some really heavy hitters, such as the Incineroar and the Tyranitar for support and offense under that Trick Room. The Amoonguss is a great way to balance out the modes. You have a fast sand mode with Excadrill that can just sweep teams or do a lot of damage at the start of the game to set up for the late game Trick Room or the late game Kommo mode. So you have a fast mode with Excadrill Tyranitar, a slow mode with Reuniclus Trick Room, and of course the setup mode with Kommo. And you could generally partner these modes together and set up for a win con of either of them. If you'd like to check out the details of the team and the creator, they'll be linked in the description down below. Also, a quick note for this video, I am sick while I am recording this. I have very limited time to record, so please deal if I do sound hoarse and don't make the best place. It is because I have very limited time to record, and I want to have some video out still throughout the span of Regulation H, since it is ending after all. Pelipper, Dragapult, Archaludon, Incineroar, Amoonguss, Sneasler. Okay. We do have the Weather War here. Tyranitar is actually really good. Reuniclus is actually pretty strong. Kommo is actually pretty solid here. This Aura Spear Kommo goes crazy. I think lead-wise is probably a Reuniclus Amoonguss angle. I like that a lot. Kommo's just so strong here. It's like really ridiculous for me not to bring Kommo. And I need Tyranitar for the weather control. Excadrill, it has some usage. I don't think it's like the best one here, which is why I'm not bringing it. Because Pelipper is so annoying to damage for the most part. Like Pelipper is probably the scariest mom, which is why I want to go for the Trick Room route. Because Reuniclus could actually threaten Pelipper with a really strong expanding force, which I think is pretty ideal. Sneasler and Incineroar? Okay, perfect. I didn't lead the sand mode. I led Reuniclus and Amoonguss. Which granted is not the best combination, but should be acceptable. I do want to probably Terra Dark here. The Reuniclus. I think I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go for the Terra Dark immediately. Go for Trick Room, and I'm going to Spore the Sneasler. Yeah. I don't know if there's going to be a fake out. You're definitely... Well, wait. They Terra'd. Sneasler. Ah, Terra Dark Drill Chop. Okay. Which is fine. I mean, they use their Terra. Now Kommo comes in, and I think Kommo gets to... kind of clean up here, because I don't really see what they could do against Kommo, but I'll take it. I guess if it's Safety Ghost Pelipper, that's the only thing I'm a little bit worried about, but I think I could probably just get Kommo in, start setting up, and then I just don't see what they could do. They go for Fake Out and Amoonguss to prevent the Spore. Perfect. They went for the Throat Chop. I could have just protected though, but sure. Reuniclus takes that super well. Goes for the Trick Room. I wonder if I could KO the Sneasler and they would expect it. Because I could go Kommo, but there's not really a point of setting up here. You know what? I'm going to see if Flash Cannon and Polypuff could... I don't know, maybe... No, I guess I could Flash Cannon Spore. Or I could go, again, Kommo Spore here. Which is super safe. You know what? I'll go Kommo and I'll click Spore. It's super safe. They don't have really the best punish tool. We know it's Throat Chop Caesar, so it's either Fake Out or Protect is the last move. And if they go for Protect this turn, not that big of a deal. I get Spore the next turn, and I'll still be in a good spot. They go for the Spore into the Steezler, as this is probably a Flare Blitz or Parting Shot. Oh, they knock out the Kommo-o. I don't need my Throat Spray in this game, so that's fine. I'm just going to go for an Aura Spear. I'm going to Aura Spear the Sneasler, and I'm going to Spore the Caesar as well. Because if they retreat, I guess Amoonguss could come in. But Pelipper breaking a Sash I think is super ideal, so I'll take that. Okay, it's not Safety Goggles on Pelipper, which is really good to confirm. If they go for Parting Shot, which is risky, I think it's really risky, but we'll see. A Flare Blitz. Okay, it's in rain. Not that big of a deal. Okay, awesome. So I get a free Spore off into Pelipper, and I get a free Aura Spear into the Pelipper, which is good damage, actually. Okay, awesome. I want to clear the Pelipper off the board because it makes it so much easier for Kommo-o to set up later. So I am going to click Clear Smog into the Pelipper and click Claying Scales. Because that should pick up a knockout. Yep. If they go for Parting Shot, that's completely fine. I'm not really that worried about the Kommo-o at the moment. I guess I could go on in Archaludon, sure. But we know the Caesar doesn't have Fake Out most likely because we saw Protect and we saw Throat Chop. So very unlikely we see Fake Out from Caesar. If Archaludon comes in, it's really not that big of a deal, I think. Archaludon comes in, sure. But Amoonguss is just so threatening to them. Pelipper asleep. And here comes the Claying Scales. Oh, I didn't knock out the Pelipper, which actually might help me in this case. Okay. What turn or... Okay, it's lesser Trick Room. I kind of want to think about this safe. I do need Kommo-o around. Kommo-o is so important in this game. I kind of want to go out into either Reuniclus or Tyranitar. I think I want to go Reuniclus because it can protect the next turn if I have to reposition, and I think that's better. And I think I clear... Polypuff should KO the Pelipper, I think, actually. I'm going to Polypuff. Because Archaludon's not going to be... I don't think you fire off an Electric Shot here. You might Draco. That's okay. Archaludon has Protect. Oh, interesting. Okay. Oh, do you also have Protect on Pelipper? Sure. All right. I don't think that's that bad. I wonder if they think I didn't bring Tyranitar because they could try to draw off a Hurricane in the Reuniclus. Actually, wait, did they get a stamina boost? They did, so it's probably sturdy. That's beneficial for me, I think. Yeah, because I think I'm actually going to go for damage instead. I'm going to go for the damage in Archaludon. Actually, no, I go for the Pelipper. Because if it's safe... No, it's not Safety Goggles. We confirmed it earlier. I'm just going to Expanding Force and I'm going to swap to Tyranitar. Because Amoonguss Kommo-o, I think, wins this endgame. Unless it's Stalwart on the Archaludon, which I guess it could be. You're probably going to Hurricane the Amoonguss. And I guess... Well, you don't have Body Press. I don't know what you go for Reuniclus, but that's okay. Hurricane, perfect. Also, that's a slow Archaludon, so that's good to confirm for my Kommo-o. I mean, once Kommo-o comes in, it just comes in, it sweeps. I don't really see too much of a problem here. A special attack boost. They get the Power Herb. It shouldn't KO Reuniclus. I think we should live one. Yeah. Great Expanding Force. Yeah, good damage in Archaludon. Nice. Pelipper goes down. They get Steezler in, but I think I'm okay with losing both of these Pokemon. Wait, if it's slow, it should... Jeez. Okay, I gotta make sure I don't mess up here. I think I'm just going to protect the Reuniclus and I'm going to swap out in Amoonguss on the close combat plus the whatever the Arcadon wants to drop. The reason I'm playing so cautiously is because it might not be sturdy or Arcadon if the Pelipper was faster. You go for close combat, yep. Okay. Oh, it's Wider Steez, so I thought it was Focus Sash. Dragon Pulse, alright. Just gotta figure out how I'm repositioning to make sure that I can win. I think I have to take a risk regardless, actually. I think I attempted Trick Room, but I think I'm going to let Reuniclus go down most likely, and I'm going to go for a Spore into Sneasler. Pelipper went for Protect, right? So it's not Scarf Pelipper. I'm pretty sure Arcadon's always slower than my Kommo-o. I go for Dire Claw, makes sense. I really hope that doesn't matter. Please double up the Amoonguss. If they double up the Amoonguss, I should just win that game, but we'll see. Okay. All right. Dire Claw is the fake that makes this super weird. Let's see. Okay, it's not over, but not the best. Not the best. I get to go Kommo-o. We know that the Kommo-o's faster. I'm going to go for Aura Spear and I'm going to go for Spore. Oh, they went for close combat. That shouldn't KO. Okay, no, well, it still comes down to Amoonguss, but I think we're in a good spot to win. Aura Spear going to KO to Arcadon. We outspeed. We pick up that knockout, so Arcadon goes down. If we get the Spore off, we should just insta win the game. Nice. Okay. I think we win. I think we win. Because I thought they were going to go... Well, I guess close combat crit could have been a thing. I was more worried about Dire Claw's status of sleep or paralysis there. Then Arcadon would be able to move KO to Kommo-o, which is the risk I had to take. I was like, okay, if this is Stalwart Arcadon, because it's probably not sturdy, if it's not even max speed, I had to figure out, like, okay, is there like a safe win con? I couldn't find one, so... Yeah, let's Aura Spear to Sneasler. Let's go for a Pollen Puff, I suppose, into the Kommo-o. This is going to be fake out into one of the slot. They didn't fake out. What? Oh, no, they just attempted to protect. Okay. I was about to say, they should always go for it, but sure. We get Pollen Puff off. I don't think this is that big of a deal, realistically. I think it just comes down to does Sneasler wake up the next turn? And does Amoonguss get paralyzed? I think they have to get a one-turn wake plus a paralysis here. I guess they could also get a protect here too. They could just protect instead with the Sneasler, so they could flare with the Amoonguss, but we don't get paralyzed, so looking pretty good. They didn't protect as well, so I think this should be a wrap. They say to sleep. Okay, game over. I think Tyranitar was in a really good spot to win anyway, but I did have to hit Rock Slice and Incineroar, which could have been a bit rough, and I probably had to use my Terra if in the worst case I lost Amoonguss there or I lost Kommo-o there. But it looks like we don't have to worry about that. They go for the Flare Blitz into the Amoonguss, but now I can just win the game by going for a Aura Spear and a low kick, and Incineroar should not be able to win this end game. All right, super nice, super nice. Good Trick Room, turrets. And Kommo-o again was super threatening to their team. They had very little tools to deal with it other than Arcadon. And once I figured out the speed tier of Arcadon as well as get rid of the Pelipper and canceling out the Weather, it made for a really good position. They teared the Sneasler so I could just go for low kick or a spear. I'm going to be forfeited. Nice. Nice. Okay. uh, Always a bit scary with the speed tiers there, especially with Arcala, but Amoonguss was really rough, and for them, and Reuniclus put in a good amount of damage. Dragonite, Electabuzz, Rillaboom, Sneasler, Volcarona, and King Gambit. Okay. King Gambit's always a scary mom, but they have to respect Kommo, because Kommo is a Pokemon that can really screw them over, but then again, Terra Blast, Volcarona, if it's Terra Fairy with Heat Wave, is not a good option against Kommo. We do have a Sand Mode though, which is really threatening to them. Tyranitar seems like a pretty good lead. I can't really see the ways that they punish Tyranitar. I kind of like the idea of Tyranitar lead with Reuniclus, which I think is super solid. I could bring Excadrill. It's not bad because there's triple ground weak, but I'd rather play for a Trick Room game, I think, with Incineroar and Amoonguss. Because I think if I could set up a really good position with Reuniclus and Tyranitar next to each other, they don't have the best switch-ins to these Pokemon under the Trick Room. So that's going to be my goal here. I think that's the right call. I can see myself going for an Excadrill game. An Excadrill game could be really good. Kommo is also a decent game plan, but I think like they only have two options, right? It's the Dragonite and the Volcarona that's good against the Kommo. Unless it's Terra Flying on the King Gambit, maybe. I could see Terra Flying King Gambit on this team, and maybe that would work here. Let's see. If that's the case, it would be pretty tricky to deal with because a Sylvest King Gambit is a little bit annoying. Caesar King Gambit lead. Okay, I'm not too surprised. Versus Tyranitar Reuniclus. All right. This is super interesting because I could have just led. I kind of led a lot of things here. Okay. So I do break a Focus Sash if it is Focus Sash on the Sneasler. I kind of like the idea of. Okay. My gut instinct is telling me that it's just going to be coaching and a Terra and a Kowtow and a Reuniclus. So I could go for Protected Rock Slide. Is that worth the risk? I don't think so. I'm going to go Amoonguss, I think, and I'm going to click Protect because I think that's the safest mid-ground because it covers a close combat option. It covers a lot. Other than Sword Stance, I guess turn 1, which I don't know if you're going to Sword Stance. I think I Sword Stance, the Tyranitar would make sense, but we'll see. Go for the Protect with Reuniclus. They do Fake Out. Is this Fake Out Sword Stance or are they going for Kowtow? They went for Kowtow immediately. Perfect. Okay. It could be Safety Goggles on the King Gambit though, so something I'm going to have to keep aware of. Because these teams do tend to run Safety Goggles on King Gambit now. Some way you close combat. I could go back at Tyranitar, I suppose, and I could KO the Sneasler. I'm debating it because if it is Safety Goggles King Gambit, I have to figure out a good line here. I think I'll go for my Terra Dark. I don't think I need my Terra on Tyranitar in this game, and I'm going to go for the Expanding Force in the Sneasler. Because if I get rid of Sneasler, it's a lot harder for them to actually like put pressure into Tyranitar. They do save it, which is smart of them. Rilla. That's good. Tricky to deal with. All right. Okay, let's see what they do here. I think if King Gambit Source has this, that should confirm a Nasty Plot, or not Nasty Plot, Safety Goggles. But if it's a Black Glasses set, it might Protect here because they might fear the Spore. If they play defensive, it might actually work out because Amoonguss can actually threaten, but we'll see. So we'll bring out the Reuniclus with the Terra Dark. Okay, it is probably Black Glasses King Gambit. Okay, so it's not Safety Goggles. I played a bit too hard for the Safety Goggles. Expanding Force, I guess I'm chipping the Rilla, which is always pleasant. That's a lot of damage, actually. I'll definitely take it. Okay. I don't mind this. I'm pretty sure I could always go out into Amoonguss for the Tyranitar, and I think I'm going to go for Trick Room. Yeah. Okay. Not the best start. Granted, I don't think that this is a terrible position, because I could threaten the Spore and a Kingambit, because if it is safety goggles, or if it's not safety goggles, Spore is pretty free here. The problem is dealing with the Kingambit when Terra is active later in the game, because I don't have the best tools to deal with it right now. But we'll see. Especially if they Sword Stance here, because they probably have a very safe Fake Out Tyranitar Sword Stance or a Wood Hammer here. I'm covering for both by going Amoonguss and Trick Room because I actually could threat to the Kingambit afterward without risking my Tyranitar. They retreat Kingambit actually, which is really good for me. Dragonite comes into play. Ooh, okay. I like this. I don't like this as much anymore. Okay. I don't like this as much anymore. I do get the Trick Room up. All right. This is not too bad though. One Hammer did a lot to my team. Okay. I don't think this is awful though, because I do threaten to Spore into the... They don't have a good Spore switching though, since they left Electabuzz behind. I live Grassy Glide at this range. Wood Hammer. What? It was like 217 minus 60 was like how much it did. So it did about like... I feel like after another grassy terrain, I would. I think I always just sport a Dragonite at Protect. Let's see what they decide to do here. It could be Protect on the Dragonite, but that's fine too. Yeah. Maybe I could have taken the knock on Rayla, but I wasn't sure yet. They go for Grassy Glide. I mean, I can go into Incineroar here and click Spore on a Dragonite, and I think that's super safe. They don't exactly have a good punish, and I think that's what I'll probably do, because then I could position for a Pollen Puff back in Reuniclus, so I can make sure that the Reuniclus always could get Trick Room up later in the game. Knowing that's not a Assault Vest, Kingambit helps. The fact that they haven't Sword Stance also has worked in my favor. The Dragonite also has lost a multi-scale and has taken Chip. Feeling that this is not the best spot, but it's not the worst spot. I'm going to go for Spore into the Dragonite, and I'm going to go out in Incineroar. Super safe play. Because Incineroar will switch in first, so I don't have to worry about giving Define to Kingambit. I can Pollen Puff. I threaten Spore afterward. I just got to watch out when Sneasler comes back in, because if Sneasler comes back in, threatening the Reuniclus is going to be pretty bad, because they do threaten the close combat once Trick Room's over. That's something I'm going to have to watch out for. Luckily, the Sneasler doesn't have access to its Focus Sash, if I'm not mistaken, because it didn't get Grassy Terrain healing. So with the Sand Chip, looking pretty decent. So we'll retreat back into Incineroar on the Grassy Glide, most likely here, unless they make a different play. And then we can Pollen Puff. They retreat Rila into what? Oh, they went for the Kingambit. I mean, this works out in my favor, so I'll take it. So I get a Spore off into the Dragonite. Huge. Are you going to risk your Kingambit like this? I could see Sneasler coming in and Protect on Kingambit. Is this the last Trick Room? Because that would make a lot of sense. No, but I still think I go for it regardless. I'm going to Spore the Dragonite, and I'm going to go for Knockoff into the Dragonite as well. I really want to go for Flare Blitz, but I think Protect plus a switch out makes a lot of sense here. They could also make a mid-ground, go Rillaboom, because they either get the Fake Out if Rillaboom survives, or they go into Sneasler after Rillaboom goes down to the Knockoff, which is fair in Protect. Kingambit going to retreat. Interesting. Okay. Rilla? Sure. I'll take it. I get a free Knockoff into the Dragonite, which is actually really good. So here comes the Knockoff into the Dragonite. Absolutely nice. We are able to get that loaded dice off. So the Dragonite really is not going to be able to do much in this game, I feel, which is super ideal. Grassy Terrain ended too, which is super nice. I'm going to go for Pollen Puff and Incineroar, and I think I go back into Reuniclus on A potential fake out here. I think fake out would be super safe. They retreat the Dragonite here into the King Gambit or the Sneasler. Both, I guess, work. But I think having the Incineroar route still pretty healthy is really ideal, especially because I want to intimidate the Sneasler probably in the later parts of the game. Reuniclus comes out, they fake out, which is super ideal because I get a free Pollen Puff into the Reuniclus. Awesome. Okay, that's really good. They wake up with Dragonite, but this shouldn't do too much damage. They go for Haze, but it only removes really the Dragonite stats, so that's pretty good for me. Okay. Spore is looking pretty nice here in the Dragonite. I think it's just Protect. I could Trick Room here because Woodhammer's not going to KO, but I risk Scale Shot into Woodhammer here. They do retreat the Rillaboom. I think this is probably King Gambit, which also works fine. Yeah. Like, I could... Like, King Gambit's not threatening anything here. Like, it's Spore it the next turn. So, Dragonite didn't Protect here, but did Dragonite go for a Scale Shot? Yeah, but for Scale Shot, it went for the Reuniclus. So, Reuniclus is healthy. I'm able to Spore the next turn. I'm able to get a Spore that King Gambit threatens the following, which is really good. And the entire left side, I think, goes down to Expanding Force, if I'm not mistaken. The Rillaboom goes down to Expanding Force. The Caesar's going to go down to Expanding Force. So I can clear this left side of the field. I'm going to go for a Trick Room, and I'm going to go for a Spore into the King Gambit, because King Gambit shouldn't be able to threaten the Reuniclus right now, unless it's Low Kick, but that means it's not Sword stance, although that makes it pretty rough. But I don't think Low Kick knocks out Reuniclus. Reuniclus isn't the heaviest Pokemon. Dragonite going to retreat into the Rila. Acceptable. Let's see, did you go for the... They went for Protect. Okay, I mean, this still works out really well in my favor because I do get the Spore pressure into King Gambit the next turn, and I can still go for Expanding Force. I guess I could go for, like, Fake Out Sword Stance into my Amoonguss, but that's okay. Because, like, Trick Room's up. Reuniclus is just really tough for them to break through at this moment. I think Rillaboom should always go down to the Expanding Force based on the damage from earlier. It would stink if we lost it, but I could still win the game regardless. I'm just going to Spore and go for Expanding Force. If they go for Sucker Punch here, that's okay, I suppose. As long as the double up does a KO. We're going to see finally the Terra. I'm the King Gambit. Terra Dark. Doesn't really change much unless you're going for Fake Out Kowtow Cleave in the Amoonguss, I guess. But that's not going to knock out the Amoonguss, so I'm okay with this. Yeah, they're going to go for the Fake Out Amoonguss, sure. But yeah, we pretty much have assumed the King Gambit's going to Terra for most of the game. Ooh, I didn't KO the Rila. Kowtow going to come out into the Amoonguss, but at this point, like... Sure, you get a bunch of damage into Amoonguss. I am able to heal back with my Citrus, but at this point, like... Even then, the Amoonguss is still really scary. Reuniclus always gets Expanding Force knockout into the Rila slot. So you're probably going to retreat Rila, sack maybe the Dragonite to bring out a Fake Out Mom, but even then, it's looking pretty rough. Gonna Spore the King Gambit, go for the Expanding. I could also Spore the Rila if I want to. It's a Protect on King Gambit, it's so obvious, but I always get a KO, so should I take it is the question. Because I would like to take full advantage of my Trick Room turns. So I'm going to Spore the King Gambit, and I think I'm going to go for Expanding Force. Yeah, I'm going to Expanding Force. Oh, King Gambit retreats. Is this Dragonite? Yeah, it's Dragonite. Okay. It's asleep, right? Yeah. Sacking the Sneasler. I don't know about sacking the Sneasler. That was your best mon to hit Incineroar and Tyranitar. So I don't know about this game plan. I think it's actually really bad now for them. I don't think the sack works. I think you have to Protect. I think you had to swap out and pray that you could figure out a position for like Rila. Get maybe like a Sword Stance or Kowtow. Like they took the initiative of like getting damage on Amoonguss, but they aren't able to knock out the Amoonguss. Which is a problem. And that's kind of the thing about a team where if you didn't bring your safety goggles mod, or in this case their Vital Spirit mod, It's really rough for them. King Gambit joins the field, but at this point, I actually want to go for Spore into the King Gambit, and I think I want to go for... Yeah, I just Expanding Force, actually. Yeah, I'm just going to Expanding Force Spore. They go for Protect. I was like debating, okay, do I stall out this trigger by going for Flash Cannon in the Dragonite because the Protect is obvious on King Gambit? I think the answer is no, because if they're going to keep going for this play, like, I still think it's pretty acceptable for Tyranitar to win. Expanding Force KOs the Dragonite. We KO the Rila. I don't think King Gambit can win the endgame by itself without a lot of RNG, but it is possible for them, I suppose. So this is Rila. They have to fake out my Amoonguss. And even if they do, I think it's pretty acceptable. I'm going to Spore, and I'm going to go for a Expanding Force into the Rila. Because I'm not throwing this on like a potential super hard read here of them overcommitting. So goodbye Rila, and I think then Tyranitar comes in and then clicks Low Kick if they go for Kowtow. If they go for Sword Stance, I just threaten Spore and Flash Cannon, I think. They go for the Kowtow, so no Sword Stance. Sword Stance was still scarier, I think, the entire time, but they go for the Kowtow, they knock out the Amoonguss, so that's acceptable. I bring in Tyranitar, I threaten the Sand damage to negate the Grassy Terrain recovery on their side of the field, but more importantly, I don't think King Gambit has anything that can threaten my Tyranitar. And actually, I'm going to get chip damage every single turn, which is super ideal. So bring out Tyranitar. Pretty sure we get to click. Do I want to knock off first or do I want to low kick? I probably just want to low kick immediately. And Flash Cannon. I am faster than King Gambit. I'm not too surprised. We do a ton of damage to the King Gambit. Critical hit. Okay, a bit unfortunate for them. They go for the Sword Stance, but it was like super late, right? I guess maybe if I got a Flash Cast Death Drop on the King Gambit, maybe they crit my Tyranitar with +4 Sucker Punch, Terra Dark. I have no idea about that calc, actually. I would not be shocked if it KO'd, but I think it's pretty unlikely it KOs. I still think Tyranitar probably wins in the end game. And if I do get a special defense drop on the Flash Cannon, I'm pretty sure even without the crit, I was going to be able to two-shot the King Gambit in that case. So I also still have Incineroar still around. Sand damage is chipping it away. I just think they set up the source. That's way too late. But Reuniclus actually able to shy, which is actually kind of really impressive of like how well I was able to do there. Whimsicott, Annihilate, Dragonite, Incineroar, Blood Moon, Ursaluna, Goldengo. Alright. Let's see. Not really too much, I think. Well, I guess there's the Annihilate and the Whimsicott set. Because there's a Whimsicott on this standard build generally, it kind of makes it weird because there could be threats of beat up. There's the standard of the Annihilate just being this coaching Final Gambit set that we commonly see. It could be Choice Scarf. Annihilate's pretty rough for the team. I do have Trick Room option with Reuniclus, and Reuniclus is actually probably pretty decent here. I do think I am going to bring the Reuniclus. Excadrill, I like it, but it's not amazing in this, I'd say. Yeah, it's pretty rough for me to bring. Do I want Kommo-o? Probably not. Well, it can be. Orspear is pretty good against this team. Orspear is pretty good against this team. I kind of like Reuniclus. I like Amoonguss because, well, it depends on the Annihilate. If it's safety goggles, that's the question. This is going to be super rough because without knowing the set on the Annihilate, it's so rough to plan an actual, like, reasonable game plan. I'm going to go with, I think, the Amoonguss lead because I think Amoonguss Reuniclus, it's really bad in a Goldengo lead, but it's, like, pretty good against everything else for the most part. Like, the problem with this is double Ghost is like, okay, I can't lead Incineroar safely, which would be able to normally check the Goldengo because there is a huge threat of the Annihilate, so gotta figure that out. Whimsicott Annihilate. Okay, yeah, I'm just gonna have to pray that the Annihilate is in Terra Grass, or yeah, I mean, that's pretty much how it goes. I'm just gonna go for a Trick Room, and I'm gonna go for Rage Powder. Not much to say. I could go for the Terra Dark immediately, but again, I don't know if this is beat up Rage Fist because the Annihilate would have to be safety goggles to be confirmed first, or Terra Grass. We also don't know if they're going to go for Final Gambit, which if this is max HP Annihilate but knocks out Reuniclus, I do not think that's worth the trade-off. So we'll see. At the worst case, I lose Reuniclus. Well, worst case is like they go for beat up Rage Fist with like safety goggles and it's like over. Like, I don't really think I had a consistent game plan without knowing the Annihilate set at least on the team. So kind of just have to take a gamble. We will Rage Powder. There was no Terra, so I'm already kind of concerned about the position. We're going to see. Okay, it's Rage Fist. Perfect. Wait, the Annihilate moved before the Whimsicott. Endeavor. Okay. Trigger. All right. It should be Scarf and Annihilate because Endeavor Whimsicott should be fast. And I mean fast. I'm going to Incineroar and I'm just going to go for Clear Smog into the Annihilate or into the Whimsicott. I could Spore the Annihilate, but if it's locked into Rage Fist without any boost, I don't think there's any point of tarting down. I think Encore could threaten the Reuniclus. Sure, I could go for the Terra, but I just don't think I need to at the moment. Defiant, yep. And Annihilate retreats too, so this actually works out really huge in my favor. Probably into Spore immunity, like Golden Go. Yep, perfect, super ideal. Incineroar's in to threaten the Golden Go, which is fantastic. They go for the Encore to Reuniclus to try and Encore the Trick Room, and I'm able to get a Clear Smog. So I'm very happy about this position. That brings it down to Focus Sash, which is super ideal. Super ideal. I'm not too concerned about Golden Go. It can't really do much against my team at the moment. I think I'm just going to go for a knockoff into the Whimsicott. And do I want to switch out the Amoonguss here? I could switch out the Amoonguss, bring out like Kommo-o potentially. But I would like to keep Amoonguss in because I think Clear Smog Dread's really good. I think I'm going to Spore. Okay, so I have a few options. I could go for Pollen Puff or Clear Smog into the Whimsicott as well as a knockoff combination. I think I'm going to go for Spore here into the Whimsicott in case Annihilate tries to switch in. We are going to see a swap. This could be Incineroar too, which is actually kind of fair. No, that's Dragonite. Okay, super ideal. Super ideal. And there's a Terra involved. Okay, this is a really good spot. This is a really good spot. What's your Terra? Terra Steel. Okay, not as favorable as I would like because I thought I could Clear Smog and Nasty Plot, but this is still pretty good. So I get the Spore off into Dragonite. Super strong here, super strong. And I get to get rid of a loaded dice here. I wasn't sure if they had like Incineroar. They try to pivot around. Big Nugget, what? Okay. Make your rain going to come out. That knocked out Amoonguss. Is that actually choice specs? It has to be. Okay. So that's choice specs. What do I want to go out into? I could go Kommo-o here. Or I could go Reuniclus. Both aren't like bad options because I could threaten Flare Blitz Expanding Force and KO to Golden Go regardless. Or I could go Kommo-o and threaten the Clang Scales here. But I think Clang Scales Flare Blitz pins every slot anyway. It covers for Annihilate but does too much damage. If the Dragonite stays in, it can't really do much. So I think I just Flare Blitz and I go for Clang Scales. I think that's a pretty good position. Endgame wise, it could be interesting, but right here, because I've gotten rid of the Multi-Scale Dragonite, I assume. Also, it's Big Nugget, which I don't know what is that for, but we're going to see the Golden Go Retreat, which is understandable. Annihilate or Whimsicott's coming in. It's going to be the Whimsicott, but this is pretty much a super sealed position, I think, because Flare Blitz will go into Whimsicott. I get a single target Clang Scales into the Dragonite, and then it's Annihilate next to Golden Go, which it should be Choice Scarf for Annihilate and Choice Specs Golden Go. I should be able to go for the double up here of Flare Blitz plus Clang Scales and be in a really good spot. So goodbye Dragonite. And then I think Reuniclus should be able to clean up the Annihilate in the end game because that should be the Pokemon that survives. Get the Throat Spray too, so I have even a stronger hit. I guess the question is who's faster? I mean, Incineroar, I think probably one-shots Golden Go with Flare Blitz unless it's a really bulky Golden Go. So I don't think I could lose, but you never know. Golden Go gonna come in as well as Annihilate. I go for the Flare Blitz into the Golden Go and I go for Clang Scales. I'm like very confident that both of these Pokemon are choice locks, so I do not think they could win. Flare Blitz, no protects. Get by KO the Golden Go, so now it's even a single target Clang Scale. So this is a +1 Clang Scale is going to go into the Annihilate. Golden Go goes down. Terra is off the board, and yeah, let's see what you do here. Rage Fist or Close Combat Lock? If you go for Rage Fist, I Terra Dark with Reuniclus to win the game, guaranteed. Are you going to go for the Kommo with Rage Fist? No, you go for the Close Combat into the Incineroar. I'm pretty sure that just means Reuniclus secures the game because it is just not taking any damage from close combat, and Expanding Force will be able to blow up the Annihilate in the end. Trigger returns to normal, but yeah, perfect. We go out in Reuniclus, we click Expanding Force, we click Clang Scales, GG. I'm kind of curious if they'll be able to knock out the Kommo-o here with close combat. I guess I'm like, I'm -2. I should go down here, yeah, because I don't have any bulk of Kommo. So Kommo goes down, but it has done a fantastic amount of work getting rid of the Dragonite as well as the Annihilate. And yeah, I think once I got them under Trick Room, because they had 2 Pokemon that were choice locked, the double out into Incineroar was fantastic for me to A, play around the Encore, but B, also get an offensive position because I knew Golden Go was like a potential really good switch there, and Incineroar was able to do kind of both capitalize, especially because it was super safe because it was most likely Choice Scarf on the Annihilate, and we saw Endeavor on Women's Cup that usually just signals that it's going to be max speed Focus Sash sets, so it had to be probably be a Choice Scarf Annihilate to outspeed it. Was able to get a really good offensive position, was able to get a really good Spore knockoff combo into that slot. Even though the Golden Go got a knockout with Make It Rain, which I did expect, I was able to like really punish, I think, afterward with the combination of Incineroar plus Kommo-o in the end game. Torkoal, Lilligant, Hisui, Charizard, Grimmsnarl, Incineroar, Gastrodon. A snow team, or not snow team, a sun team. Okay. Manageable, I suppose. Yeah, this is manageable. I probably want to go. I want to have Tyranitar and Incineroar for sure. They're like very big players to this game. Excadrill, it's not bad, but it's kind of slow in this. Mungus is nice, but there's triple fire. I do think I lead Incineroar always. Incineroar Kommo-o doesn't seem too bad, or Incineroar Reuniclus doesn't seem too bad. I'm kind of leaning towards the Kommo-o because if they lead Incineroar, it's not a great option. I think Reuniclus for power and Trick Room as an option, and then definitely Tyranitar in the back. Not very Tyranitar against this kind of team is definitely throwing. So there's a lot about Weather Wars. I had to play around the Lilligant. Unfortunately, we are Magic Guard on the Reuniclus, so Sleep Powder is a factor on the Reuniclus, which is not going to be fun. Otherwise, I think I could have led Reuniclus because if they lead like Lilligant, it's fine. If they lead Charizard, I don't know if I'm going to go for knockoff or parting shot. This could be Lilligant Charizard lead too, which is also like, I hate dealing with that lead, but we'll see. Oh, Grimmsnarl Gastrodon is a really interesting one. Okay. Versus Kommo-o and Incineroar. Okay, I don't mind this. Although, I don't really have the best answers dealing with Grimm. I'm worried about how much Earth Power does. I don't have the best switches to Grimm, but I can't really let screens go up, so I think I gotta fake out the Grimm and Aura Spear as much as I don't like it. I gotta hope that A, it's not Covert Cloak, and B, I need to damage out Grimm. Grimm's a tough mon to break through. I'll go for the Aura Spear. I'm not boosting up. Oh wow, that did nothing. They go for Yawn anyway. Yeah, I didn't want to set up because of the fact that they could go for that. Perfect. Okay. So I'm going to go for Flare Blitz up next into Grim, and I'm going to go into Reuniclus. They're probably going to go for Reflect, but that's all right. I want Flare Blitz Pressure. I got the damage on Grim. Grim is such a weird Pokemon for me because it's like, I didn't bring the best tools for it because I left my Excadrill behind because I don't think it's that great in this matchup. And then, yeah. So this is tricky. We need to KO this Grim as fast as possible because Spear Break's actually a move that threatens a lot of damage. I gotta slow down the Gastrodon too. So we'll see. But we will retreat Kommo. We don't want it to sleep. It's actually important for later on. If we could take knockouts early, it's important for the Weather War, but we'll see. They do go for the Reflect. Not too surprising. This is either Earth Power or Yawn again, which is fine. Flare Blitz comes out into Grim. Good damage. A Burn is very helpful there because it reduces damage of Spear Break. So that's actually really nice. Okay. Earth Power into what was the Kommo, so I'll definitely take that. Okay. Do I want to go greedy here? They're probably going to set up the light screen, I'd imagine. I mean, my best play is just a party shot out the Gastrodon. Gastrodon's going to get leftovers every time. I think I want to take the KO on Grim with Flash Cannon. Probably. I think taking the early knockouts way more important. They're probably just going to set up a light screen, and then Gastrodon's probably going to go for either Yawn, an Earth Power. Whatever it does, at least I'm going to reduce his damage up. But yep, we see the light screen. Okay, so the Burn didn't really come into play at all, I think. Unless my opponent really wanted to go for a Spirit Break. But Parting Shot into the Gastrodon. It slows his damage output. Like, at least Gastrodon's a Pokemon that's not really doing damage to my team. So that's a pretty big deal because if we're going to play a bit of a slower game, I think it works out in my favor because Torkoal, it's kind of bulky, but it's not like it does too much against me. And then Lilligant and Charizard are just frail Pokemon by nature. So I think that this is a good spot. We get rid of Grim. Fantastic. All right. So I don't have to worry about Spirit Break, and they're down a Mon, which is important. It's a Pokemon they can't pivot into for saving for the Weather War. So if I get one more knockout, I win the Weather War, which is huge. But let's see what comes out here. Now, why did they set up the screens is a big deal. Torkoal comes in. That's so shocking to me, actually. Okay. Are they trying to double out here? I don't want to go for Clangor's Soul because I don't think it's ever worth it in front of Yawn Gastro, which is probably clicking Yawn here. I think I'm going to get damage. I think I'm going to go for Clang Scales, and I'm going to go into Tyranitar. This weakens the power of the Eruption. This also helps because of the fact that I think if they double out here in the Lilligant, I at least do some pretty impressive damage across the board. So let's see. All right, they stay in. Playing Scales, that does no damage whatsoever. Holy cow. At least we get a +1. I don't know if it's going to be worth it, but we'll find out, I suppose. Yawn into Kommo. I'm going to switch out. I have +1, but I don't know if it's worth it. Overheat. Okay. Are you Eject Pack? Are you Eject Pack? You are Eject Pack. Okay, that's actually kind of an interesting note. Is this Charizard coming in? Because unless Charizard has Focus Blast, I'm pretty sure Tyranitar is safe to throw off a Rock Slide or a Knockoff. Which I might do. I really hope it's not Focus Blast coming out here. I really hope not. They haven't Terra'd yet. I feel like if we're going to Terra, it's probably the Charizard. If it's Lilligant coming out, like, it can't do too much to me, thankfully, at the moment. But we'll see. It is Lilligant. Okay, so at least the Sash is broken with the Sand. All right. I want to get Reuniclus back in so it can threaten the Lilligant. Incineroar for this slot and Reuniclus for the other. I could also switch the other way around. I think it's likely they close combat the Kommo slot. But they also might just sleep power the... Well, actually, no. They should never sleep power the Kommo. Yeah, I don't think you ever sleep power the Kommo. I think this is probably an okay switch maneuver. They either close combat... They close combat one of my slots. Unless you want to sleep powder the Tyranitar, which I guess... But yeah, the ideal position here is to keep the Weather War around. Bring in the Reuniclus that could actually threaten heavy damage with Expanding Force. Lower this Lilligant's damage output. And we'll see how it goes from here because it's still kind of rough. It's still kind of rough. Reuniclus brought out. And if they protect, this is fantastic for me. So I'm kind of shocked by that, but that works out huge. They do call my Incineroar switching out, or they want to damage on Kommo, which is fair, but that is so ideal. Okay. I haven't Terra'd. I don't know if I want to Terra. I might Terra here. I kind of want to Terra, go for a knockoff in the Lilligant. I really feel that this might be... Well, this could be a Torkoal switch, but if they go for a Torkoal switch, they lose momentum. Or they're going to go for Terra goes close combat, I think. Because they're under screens. I think it would make a lot of sense. I should have Flare Blitz, I think. They did Terra, though. Okay, I am kind of right about this. Lilligant Terras, Terra Ghost. Nice. Okay. It looks really good. Looking really good. Did I Terra at the right call? Because I don't think I need the Fire Resist anymore, especially if the Torkoal isn't a Charcoal Sweeper set. It's a Jetpack, so its item was used up. It can't do as much damage. So we go for the Terra Ghost on the close combat. And hopefully we get the double knockout into the Lilligant. Nice. 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 Because Fake Out was a bit obvious there, so I didn't want to go for it. Also, like, I felt Lilligant had a really safe call to Terra here. I guess I didn't need to double it, but always the better play. Y'all going to come out. Expanding Force into the Lilligant. We'll pick up the knockout. Beautiful. All right, feeling really good. Feeling really good. Because I have won the Weather War, so Torkoal is basically not going to be helpful. Once I get rid of these leftovers on Gastrodon with either Incineroar's knockoff or the Tyranitar's knockoff, it's going to be a lot easier to handle this team. I feel really good about this. Torkoal Drought active. I'm going to go for Parting Shot into the Torkoal, and I'm going to switch into Kommo. Because I don't know if you have Body Press on the Torkoal for some reason, but if you do have Body Press, I think Tyranitar wins, but battle going to be forfeit. Nice. Nice. Okay. I also wonder if they did Sleep Powder because they were just worried about like a potential overcoat on the Reuniclus because of Magic Guard and the overcoat being very similar in a lot of scenarios here other than the Sleep Powder, but in close sheet they won't know the difference. It works out. But yeah, just good positioning. I think for the most part I was able to get again the early KO on the Gram, caught them on the Lilligant, and was just able to like two bulky Pokemon sure under screens, but they weren't doing any damage, and I could just rack up the damage and they wouldn't have had any recovery after I again go for a knockoff. Golden Go, Mousehold, Basculegion, Rillaboom, Dragonite, and Annihilate. Okay, this is really scary. Double Ghost Mousehold is really rough. Really rough. Oh boy. Can I win this? I guess I have to what? Because I don't know if it's the Super Fang Mousehold with like Choice Specs Golden Go, or if it's just a beat up with like Annihilate. And both are really rough for this team without knowing the set. Oh no. I think I'm going to do Kommo plus Amoonguss. I think it's the only like super safe path that I have here. Yeah, I think it's like the only safe path I have here. I don't think I could ever get Trick Room up. If it was easy to get Trick Room, Reuniclus would come. But like the thing is, it's so hard to set up Trick Room against them. I think in the back, I bring in Incineroar and Tyranitar because Tyranitar is actually good offensively. And so is Incineroar. But this is rough, man. This is rough. Annihilate, Golden Go, Mouse. There is a lot of mind games I have to deal with. And both lead combinations are so scary where if I get the call wrong, I'm just losing the game on the spot. Golden Go, Mouse. Okay, I'm not too surprised. Versus Kommo-o. All right. I'm going to protect Kommo and go Incineroar. The reason I'm going to go for this play is I'm thinking that this build is really similar to what Joji used to get like rank. Was it rank 1 or was it rank 2? I think it was rank 2 on Battle Stadium last season. Although there are some differences. But he really used this core of like Golden Go plus Mouse Hold. And I'm trying to figure out if this is like the choice specs with Super Fang, which I think I could see going into Kommo right now. We see a Terra, which is good. Okay. So that should be the Kommo. Or I mean the Golden Go, yeah. Golden Go, Terra Steel. Yeah, this is probably the offensive set, which this works out huge for me because I am able to go for Fake Out. All right, we protect the Kommo. This should be Super Fang. Nice. Okay. They also have Feint on this team, or Feint on these builds, so it was like a mind game there, but it really worked out. Make it rain, it's going to be -1 special attack. The thing about Clangor Soul is you have to conserve HP because it is a 33% HP reduction in order to utilize it, so I did have to make sure that I did have it. It shouldn't be Covert Cloak Mousehold, and they can't Terra the Ghost, so I should be able to go for Terra Steel safely and go for the Clangor Soul here. And then go for the Fake Out into the Mouse. And then I'll threaten very heavy Aura Spears. Gold retreats, which is good too. Okay. Annihilate. Ooh. Alright. Still a scary threat. But I don't think this is as bad. I want to figure out what the Annihilate is because we don't know what the set is. Bring out the Kommo's Terra Steel. Mouse protects, okay. This is Final Gambit. They do have the well, are you Final Gambit? I guess we'll find out. Because they have Feint on the Mousehold most likely. If they Feint close combat to Kommo, the Kommo probably goes down. Well, there's not much I could do there then. I think I'm just going to go for Aura Spear into the Mouse, and I think I'm going to go for a knockoff also into the... I'm going to go for a knockoff into the Ape. Ray Scarf? Yep, they go for Feint, so I don't know if this is close combat or if there's going to be a different move. It's a crit. Shouldn't matter. Aura Spear comes out. Goodbye, Mouse. Oh, they Final Gambit instead. Okay, so I could have switched out an Amoonguss. I wasn't sure they were going to close combat because close combat from max attack would make a lot of sense. But I can't remember the spread. I also, I think Annihilate close combat even felt like suit a lot of investment. Could have knocked out the Kommo, so I didn't think they would go for the Final Gambit, but this is still kind of rough, but we do have to figure it out here. I think we gotta go Amoonguss. Let's see. Rila. Okay. I think I'm in a good spot then. Because it's Rila, Golden Go back. I'm pretty sure. Obviously, I could have been in a better spot if I just switched out into Amoonguss in the first place. But better late than never, I suppose. Granted, we could still very easily lose this. Oh, wait. We don't have Protect. Shoot. Dang it, I thought I had protect. I forgot I don't have protect. Gonna go for damage in Arela. Pollen Puff, I'm gonna go Tyranitar. Because I need Incineroar around. Wait, I did have to switch out Incineroar. I just had to call which move they were clicking. It was either close combat or it was gonna be final gambit, man. I got the call wrong. Shoot. Incineroar retreats. We go Tyranitar. Because I was like, oh, I can protect, switch it. It's sack the Tyranitar to make it rain, and then I'll be fine. Nope, that's not how it's gonna work. They're gonna make it rain high horsepower. Does Amoonguss live to make it rain? Probably, I think, based on the damage from earlier. Tyranitar survives the turn 2. This should be high horsepower to Tyranitar anyway, so should be safe. This might still be fine, actually, especially if they go for the Tyranitar. Yeah, okay, this might actually work. Yeah, that's fine. Because Amoonguss still has plenty of health to work with. So we go for the Pollen Puff into the Rela. Rela takes a bit of damage. This is so rough. It's gonna be really close. It's gonna come down to the wire, I think. We go Incineroar, we click Fake Out into Golden Go, we click Pollen Puff. Yeah, we got a Pollen Puff or Incineroar for the HP. We fake out the Golden Go. And we have to Flare Blitz the Rela most likely. Okay, yep, we take it. I don't think I'm gonna have enough HP because I need to Flare Blitz the Rela in the end game. Did I have a fake out opportunity into Rela? No, because Make It Rain probably KO'd Amoonguss, or it probably does KO Amoonguss still. Go for Pollen Puff. Is there a way I could win? I'm trying to think. I think I gotta hope for a high horsepower miss. I think that's probably the win con. Make It Rain. Yeah, KO's Amoonguss. Okay, I just got swept by the end game. I think even if I dodge high horsepower, I'm pretty sure I just take too much recoil for to make it rain. High horsepower. Yeah, I did think of this. I knew it was delayed. But it was going to come out to Amoonguss. I just had to read the final gambit. It was definitely winnable, I think. It was definitely winnable. I think I had to go Incineroar first. I think I had to switch out Incineroar into Amoonguss. Bring in the... Even then, like I fake out the gold. I go for Pollen Puff. And I guess I have another opportunity to fake out Pollen Puff. I don't know. It's still like not the best situation, but I think if I did that and we did the same sequencing, it just meant like I got a fake out rotation of Pollen Puff more, which means I could get another Intimidate off into the Rela because I get Incineroar in. Let's say I bring in the Amoonguss instead of like attacking with the Incineroar while the final gambit happened from Annihilate. I could go for a switch with Incineroar into the Amoonguss that position and bring out the Incineroar on a free switch. I could go for Fake Out plus Pollen Puff. They either Fake Out plus Make It Rain, or they go for a high horsepower double up. But as long as I get a Fake Out, I could get Pollen Puff. I could switch out, go Tyranitar. Same situation basically occurs, but I have Rela at -2, which makes a big difference. And the Golden Go also would have... the Golden Go would have been same. I don't know. It seems pretty rough. I think it was... I mean, it still would have been better than the current plan, though. All right, let's go over to games. In game 1, was able to set up a nice Trick Room while catching an early Terrestrialization from my opponent. That allowed a great position for Kommo to dominate the game, as long as Dire Claw didn't go too crazy. In game 2, the start wasn't great, but Reuniclus combined with Amoonguss was able to wear down my opponent's team and allow my Tyranitar to beat the Kingambit in the endgame. In game 3, against the lead of Whimsicott and Annihilape, I just had to gamble hard to turn 1. There really is not much of a safe play, and got an amazing spot with the Incineroar coming in for free turn 2 to dominate under Trick Room. In game 4, a passive start from my opponent, but getting an early 2 knockouts, especially with the right calls on the Lilligant Terra, allowed me to set up a great endgame as they were threatening very little damage without the Lilligant. In game 5, the game was winnable, but even though I got the start right, had to switch out Incineroar on one of the turns to get fake out pressure and possibly Tomb Tames on the Rillaboom for a chance to win. But I did expect a final Gambit over the Close Combat because I thought Close Combat was just going to be able to KO my Kommo in that position. Overall, what do I think about the team? I think the Reuniclus is interesting on this team. It's not the best because it's, of course, if you had an Entity for the Expanding Force, it'd probably be able to do a lot of damage. But I did like the synergy of the team. It's nice that Reuniclus is just immune to the sand damage, immune to the Life Orb hit, so you're going for strong damage. I don't know if Flash Cannon's really necessary for like the Terra Fairies against the Kommo. I think other coverage moves might have helped with Reuniclus. Maybe even a Terra Fighting Terra Blast would have been really cool to see, but overall wasn't bad, and I think Sand is still pretty strong. Tyranitar was a good Pokemon in general. Kommo actually got to showcase quite a bit with that Aura Spear. A special fighting type move is always appreciated with the Assault Vest on Kingambit and Arcalons around. So overall, enjoyed the team. If you'd like to try it out, the rental code is on your screen. Hopefully it's still available by the time the video comes out. And of course, if you would like to check out the details of the team and the creator, they'll be linked in the description down below. But of course, subscribe to the channel for more VGC content as always.